All right, honey. Welcome to another wonderful Monday night of Chewing the BBQ Fat. Guys, we have got a lot going on tonight, and we are so excited to number one, we're going international tonight. Chewing the BBQ Fat is headed international. We have Australia on. We have Paul coming on tonight, guys. I'm super excited. But other than that, we also, Ellen teased out today that we have some big news. But before we tell you our big news, like the page, share the page, do whatever you can so we can get as many people on here to hear our news, because we're just so excited about what's going on and what's happening tonight. And I'm trying to find the video so I can share it.
It's been a while since I've been on.
Yeah, welcome. This is Ellen. If anybody forgot her.
You don't probably miss me. So
she is the one that runs this show.
But I've been behind the scenes adding new products. Like I mentioned today, we have man meat. We've got the LC rubs in.
Uncle Kenny's.
We've got Uncle Kenny's. I haven't added Texas pepper jellies, chicken and brisket rub, but that's come in. So many things have come in, but that's not the big news.
That's not the big news. It does have to do with products.
Yeah.
Our news does have to do with products. Hey, Scotty, how you doing, man? Good to see you. One of the items that we have is a fine swine. We have a fine swine original, we have a fine swine sweet, and we have a fine swine Texas heat.
Yes.
And
that's been hard to come by. We're stocked up on them.
We are stocked up on them, guys. And what I want to tell you, it's a big day for us here at Atlanta Barbecue Store. And David Stidham would say the same thing. He's excited too. But just wanted to let everybody know that Atlanta Barbecue Store is now going to be the owner, distributor, whatever, of a fine swine. Exclusive owner. We're excited.
Of a fine swine sauce.
A fine swine sauce. If anybody needs it, if anybody's had a hard time finding it, we've got it. Let us know. We'd love to get it to you, because I think it's a sauce that everybody needs in their arsenal. And if you don't have it, you need to get it. You need to try it, and come on board and let us know.
And we're going to try to get it international. Speaking of international,
there's David. Whoa, hey David, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming on. It's good to see you. You've been a great guy. We've had a lot going on. It's been a lot of the discussion back and forth, and we're just excited that we're able to do this. But like I say, share the page as much as you can, because we have Paul King coming on, guys. We are very excited. I don't know if you follow any of the international scene, if you keep up with anything going on in the international world of KCBS, but Paul and his team are the current Australian #1 team in the world. They are the chicken, ribs, and pork #1 in rankings. And I think you're up there in brisket also, right? Paul, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Alan. Thank you for having me on the show. It's great to be here. Muchly appreciated. Look forward to the chat.
Man, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. I've been fortunate enough to been talking to Paul for a good bit tonight, and just hearing what it's like in Australia and overseas and what's going on. It's a shame COVID has come in and done things, because y'all are dealing with COVID-19 also. It's a worldwide pandemic, everybody. It's not just in the U.S. But tell me a little bit about you and your team, and let's get rolling tonight on Chewing the BBQ Fat. What's up, Jen?
Sure. So I'm a chef by trade, culinary teacher, and I started cooking barbecue at the end of 2016, where it was introduced to me. And obviously I purchased my first barbecue. It was a Horizon smoker. I spent 3 or 4 days when Harry Sue came to Australia. I was his offsider, so I rubbed shoulders with Harry, picking up a few tips and tricks. And then, said to my buddy of mine, hey, let's start a team. We started a team. We traveled to the US a couple of times. We cooked over there. We cooked here in Australia. We did quite well. When we were cooking competition, we were cooking on Gateway drum smokers. And a year or so ago, we parted ways, and now I said to my wife, I said, look, I really like this barbecue, and we're catering, and let's continue our barbecue journey. And my wife was all in agreement with everything. So we purchased a couple more drums. So we had the 4 drums, and yeah, travelled around Australia, up and down the east coast, Victoria, Queensland, New South Wales, trying to pick up as many competitions as possible. And also flew over to Western Australia. We cooked over there. So with the fly in, fly out, and cooked on borrowed equipment, and took some meats and sauces stuff with me. And basically everything goes in a suitcase on the plane, and away you go. And you get there and you beg, steal, borrow, and lie, and help, rely on your barbecue family to help you out. But I've been cooking barbecue since, like I say, end of 16 now, 3 years. And 2020 was supposed to be another great year for competition, but here in Australia, everything got shut down. So unfortunately, I've only cooked 1 competition, and that was in January, end of January, February. We took out reserve grand on that, so pretty happy with that one. But before that, to be announced team of the year, we cooked less than 5 competitions. Our first competition was in May at Norco, California. We flew over and cooked the Brew and Q Festival, and I said to my wife, I said, look, let's have some fun. If we sit middle field, I'll be happy. Same as, we borrowed drums, took some equipment with us and bought a lot of rubs while we're there. And at the end of the day, when the competition was over, we took 9th out of 49 teams, and it was like, no way, this is cool. I was totally blown away. I was happy, would have been happy with 25th, but to get in the top 10, that was cool. And then we came back to Australia. We cooked, I think there was 3 or 4 competitions here in Australia, and we ended up on top of the ladder. And it was, down to the last competition. We flew into, I did a competition in November, first week, and I didn't get the result that I wanted. We drove back to Sydney, and I knew there was a competition in Perth that weekend. So the competition in November was on the Tuesday, and there was a competition in Perth, Western Australia on the Saturday. And I got back here to Sydney, and I said to my wife, I said, look, I don't know if we've got this secured, And I looked at it, I said, if we can get tickets to go to Perth, can I go to Perth and cook the weekend? And she said, yeah, well, if you can get all your gear and equipment and whatnot, yes, you can go. So I managed to get everything organised, and Thursday I flew out to Perth. My buddy flew down from Brisbane. He flew into Perth as well. And we cooked out, and we took grand champion, which secured the 2019 team of the year. So it was a real nail biter of a weekend. Who does 2 competitions in a week and flies across one side of the country to the other? But I had the bug, I did it, and it paid off. So very happy with that.
Do what you got to do when you're chasing points, right? And
100%.
Yeah, it's really cool. So the thing that's amazing to me, what you said, and I'll let you talk about it, but Gateway drums are a huge cooker here in the U.S. Obviously, Tim Shear, they're here, right? They're a U.S. company. But you're telling me that you cook on 4 drums also. You cook on 4 Gateway drums.
That's correct. And they get cleaned every couple of cooks. They're absolutely pristine. Okay, they're my comp drums. They're my babies.
That's awesome to me. That is so cool to see how what's working here is across the country is working, because it's 10:30 in the morning, Tuesday morning where you are right now.
That's right.
Across the world, things are the same. Pretty cool.
100%. We use the same products that you guys use over there. Plus, we've got our Australian-made products, and it's great to be able to utilize the products out of the US and compete and cook in the similar flavors and create our own flavors using your rubs and sauces. That the same as what you do. When we first started cooking on drums, end of 2016, early 17, people like you're cooking in a trash can, and they bagged us out, and we stuck by the drums, and I stuck by the drums, and learned how to tweak them and use them, and a lot of the guys that bagged them out 3 years ago actually have them now. They're like, oh wow, these are awesome, you know. You can sleep at night, you get up in the morning, and you know you can take trophies, and that was the best part about it. You didn't have to stay up all night feeding an offset, and not taking anything away from offsets at all. I use one for catering. You know, it's up to the person, the pit master, up to the person who wants to cook on it, what you prefer. Same as pellet grills. People say, you know, people own pellet grills wear a skirt, but you know, I've got one, but I don't wear a skirt. You know what I mean? It makes life a bit easier for me.
I could put one.
Yeah.
That's something that you see there too. So I mean, yeah, pellet grills are taking over, drums are taking over. I mean, you still have your offsets, you still have all the different offsets that are out there. But yeah, I mean that charcoal cooking is what's kicking right now. I mean, it's what's hitting right now.
It's just great to use it. Use something that, you know, is so easy to use. It's got 2 air intakes and a chimney, and you put a basket of charcoal in there. You can do an 8-hour cook. You can do a 4-hour cook. It just depends on what temperature you want to run it at.
Right.
And they're definitely great, good value to use.
What is your favorite? Well, let me ask, guys. We've got Paul on with the King and his Q, right? It's the team name.
That's us
from Australia. So if you have any questions, please send them in. I'll ask him. We've already talked beforehand. He said he'd answer anything we had. So y'all go ahead and bring in some questions so we can find out what it takes to win. It sounds like what wins in Australia is winning here also. But what would you say your favorite American sauce is?
Look, the one I use
for fine swine, of course.
Yeah, fine swine. I haven't. I'll be say I've heard of the name, but I haven't tasted the sauce. So, look, I use Blues Hog for competition, sweet Blues Hog Original and Tennessee Red, and I cut that with obviously other sauces. That's the main one I've used. I've tasted Head Country sauce, Harry Sue sauce, Luton Booty sauce. Yeah, they're some of the main ones. I've been to Melissa's restaurant, Melissa Cookston, down in Memphis. I've tasted her sauces, same as Myron. Look, I've tried them. I'm not going to say I have a favorite. Obviously, I utilize Blues Hog for my competition sauce, but so do a lot of barbecue teams in Australia, throughout the world, US. They all use that and they cut it with their flavors they want to put into it. I wouldn't say I have a dead set favorite, but that's the one I utilize most of over here. And then for my catering, I mix up a blend of my own sauce. I make up my own flavor, my own mix, and my catering sauce works well. People like it, but I probably wouldn't use it for competition.
Gotcha.
And you can't forget about Sweet Baby Ray's. You know, that's everywhere. And
that's
right. A lot of new guys use it in competition, and I've heard of teams winning on Sweet Baby Ray's. And if that's what the judge wants and likes, hey, go for it.
Yeah. Sweet Baby Ray's.
Here's what you need.
Vince Colanetta, he is a manufacturer of rubs and glazes and sauces here in Texas. He wants to know, what kind of charcoal are you running in your Gateway drums?
Okay, so in my Gateway drum, I utilize the Blues Hog charcoal. I'll buy through an importer here in Australia. We also have a charcoal here called Heat Beads. It's compressed charcoal, and I've used that as well when I haven't had Blues Hog. Any lump charcoal works well. We've got a couple here in Australia called Mallee Root, and there's a couple other different types of lump charcoal that we utilise. But for competition, I'll always try and get a hold of Blues Hog. And then if I can't use the Blues Hog, I'll use heat beads as a base, and then add my fruit and my woods on top of that.
That was my next question. Right along with that, what kind of woods are you using?
Same as you guys do over there. Apple, hickory, pecan, peach. They're the main ones that I use in competition. But we've got all the same flavors. There's one we do have over here that Philip Dell took back home with him, and that was called Jamwood. It's out of Western Australia. It produces a really intense smoke ring, gives it completely different flavour. It's available mainly on that side of Australia, but you can get it over here. We use that. Australian hardwoods in the offset, I use ironbark, red gum, and then they're your base. And then if you want to put a fruit wood in there, you can put a chunk of apple or a lump of hickory, pecan, put that in and burn that as well, which will give you your hickory or your apple flavour, depending on what you're doing. But mainly we use your hardwoods.
That's what Brendan O'Loughlin, he says he used ironbark. So I'm assuming Brendan is from Australia, maybe? I don't know. Really cool. Yeah. So what does that compare to here? Is that like a hickory? Is that a pecan? Is it a
probably your oak hickory?
Okay.
That's what I would compare it to. It's like I say, it's a hardwood. So it's a good long burning, good flavour, which is like your oak and your hickory.
Nice.
But you get you get a nice flavour, but not an overpowering flavour. And then you can, like I say, you can add in your other fruit woods or your other hardwoods that are a little bit more expensive, because you can get the ironbark and red gum anywhere.
Yeah, he said he's from Sydney, and he says it's closer to post oak. So I'm guessing that's like a Texas thing. Awesome. What kind of rubs are y'all? I mean, I know obviously you got the same stuff we're using, but well, let me back up. What is your best category?
Best category would have to be ribs and pork. That favorites. Brisket's just that little one. Look, I enjoy cooking brisket, but I just can't nail it. I haven't been able to take out the first place brisket yet. The day I do, I'll be over the moon. But I've been able to pull off first ribs, first pork, and I think I've done a first chicken as well. But they're probably my two favourite categories that I do it pretty good at.
So what do you do? What kind of rubs are you using? Obviously, you're using the Blue Sog sauce. What kind of rubs are you using?
So currently,
you don't have to tell me exactly, but just
that's all right. So currently using a Big Papa's rubs. Now, if I can go into details on the ribs, we use Big Papa's Sweet Money, Simply Marvelous Pecan. And I also use a little bit of the Blues Hog on there as well. And with the pork butts, we use the garlic jalapeno with the Blues Hog sweet and savoury. Yep, over the top of that. Injection wise, I'm a supporter of Blues Hog pork injection. But I have used Butcher's Barbecue as well as Cosmos. Currently utilising Blues Hog. So they're my main rubs that I utilise on those. And then obviously it comes down to, I'm happy to tell you what I use, but it's how you cook it at the end of the day. So you can tell you what flavours I use. It's how you layer it and cook it and manage it, and then what you wrap it and finish it with. That's the last final flavour to it. But we're all doing very similar flavours.
Yeah, you just got to drill the tenderness, right?
Yeah, it comes down to your tenderness at the end of the day and your final flavour and what you mix into it.
That's great. My buddy Paul Keltner here, he's Rooters and Tutors out of Tennessee. He's got two questions. How many contests do you normally compete in a year? And then what are the average size of those contests?
All right. So 2019, we competed in 4 competitions. and there was max numbers in one was 32. So there was 32 teams in maximum number, and there was a minimum of 15 in another in that 4. So it varies. We haven't had there's one competition here called Meat Stock, and it's run by another sanctioning body, and they can get up to 50 teams in their contest. I have cooked under their sanctioning body as well, and yeah, I've competed against 50 teams in that particular meat stock. But KCBS is, like I say, maximum was 32 down to the 15 there, and I only cooked the 4 competitions last year. In Perth, Western Australia, there has been a few more competitions over there than on the eastern side. Unsure why that is. Probably because one of the main KCBS guys lives in Perth. He's in contact with a lot of promoters, but we've got KCBS reps on the eastern side. But I think it's the promoters are a little bit more scared to, well, I wouldn't say scared, but cautious of doing a competition. Some are willing to go to town, some aren't. So I hope that answers the question there for him.
Yeah, it does, very much so. Next question, you said you've cooked in the U.S. and Australia.
Yes.
What's the biggest difference in the two?
Finding knowing where to go and buy and source your products. It's that'd be one difference. Knowing what products.
You know the best place to source your products, of course, is the Atlanta Barbecue Store. So
yes, that is correct. They're on speed dial now. I'll definitely be looking you guys up. Look, my advantage when I'd gone previously was, and before I knew much about barbecue, was to have someone who'd been there a few times that I went with, and then after going there and speaking with a lot of the teams, you knew where to go and buy your product and what worked, what didn't work. Cooking on borrowed equipment, so that we always tried to source what equipment that we used over here. So we were in contact with Tim from Gateway, and we always cooked on Gateway drums. We didn't change what we cooked, basically, or the style we cooked. The teams that we came in contact with were always welcoming. You know, it was like, hey, you arsies, how you doing? You know, you guys are awesome. And it was like, they welcomed you in. I cooked the American Royal. I did cook that 3 times in total. And every time I cooked it, it was, you'd walk around, you're just like a normal person. But then when you got talking to someone, hey, you're from Australia. Hey, how you doing? You know, what's it like? They welcome you in. Hey, do you want a beer, or do you want a burrito, or what can you get you? Like, we're in the vicinity where, you know, Rick Mice and a couple of other guys, I think it was Smoky D's, they cook their pork schnitzels around near where Tim sets up. You know, you wander around, you grab a pork schnitzel with everybody else, and you hang out, you have a chat, you do your 9/11 shots. Yeah, I think was it 722? Yeah. And the
707, 922, 1111. There's all kinds of them.
Yeah, and then you do your lucky beer at 10 o'clock with Tim. You know, like,
right?
They welcome you in. It's great fun. It's just one big happy barbecue family, and that's the best. That's what you enjoy about it. You know, you run out of something, you forget something. You can usually go and have a quick chat with someone, and hey, can you help us out? People are like, yeah, sure, here you go. You know, and people are happy to help you out because, one, you're a long way from home, but it's what they do. Even if you weren't a long way from home, it happens here in Australia. You know, someone forgets something. Oh, can I borrow this, or can I get that? Yeah, sure. You know, yes, you're helping out a competitor, but it's what you do to keep the family alive. Look after each other, and that's what I enjoy about both sides, cooking here and cooking there. That no one treats you as an outsider. Yeah, you're all there to take GC and take the money. That's what you want to do, you know. But whether you do it or whether somebody else does it or I do it, you're still going to cheer for them at the end of the day.
Right.
Whether they took your rub or they took a bit of sauce or took a piece of wood or you gave them a barbecue, you're happy for them to take a walk, and that's the camaraderie. That's where you help each other out. That's
Great.
the way I see it.
So I know you said ribs and pork were your favorite categories. Brent Little has brought up, what would you say your biggest accomplishment would be in the rib category?
Yeah, first of all, g'day, Brent. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, Brent and I, we're on Instagram chat. I met Brent at 20. I think it was 2018, Memphis in May. He's cooking on his team, Pig Diamonds, and we were next door with the team from Australia. Look, my biggest walk or call in ribs. We went to Memphis in May, the previous team I was on, and we cooked rib category. Tim Shear from Shake and Bake, he came along and we cooked on. I think we had 4 or 5 gateway drums set up, and we borrowed Melissa's cooking's Jambo as well. And Tim and I, we were in charge of cooking, and we ended up cooking 30 odd racks of ribs. Trimmed them, injected them, did all the same similar flavors to what we've been doing here in Australia. And we submitted our box, and we all right, okay, cool. Our rep came around, and when your rep comes around, it's either a good thing, it's usually a good thing. And he goes, "Hey, you guys, you made top 10. You've got to you do your next lot of interviews with on-site judging." And we're like, "Oh wow, shit, a couple of Aussie blokes got top 10." Then we did our on-site judging, and we waited, and unfortunately, we didn't get through to the top 3. Which is fine. We achieved what we achieved. So we went to awards, and we're sitting there, and they start off at 10, and they're going down now. We would have been happy with number 10, but it's a small trophy. Little bowling trophy, as you might call it.
Yeah.
Nice big steel one. Anyway, we're sitting there and going through the categories, the rankings. And hang on a sec, we're up to number 6 and we haven't been called yet. What's going on here? And we looked at each other and got to 5th, and I said, well, hey, we didn't get 3rd, so we got 4th. So we ended up taking a walk on the stage for 4th ribs, Memphis in May, out of 112 teams. And that would have been, that was big stoked as, big achievement for myself and the team. So I really got to experience something that, I was definitely stoked about. So yeah, that'd have to be the biggest kick or biggest achievement out of ribs. But also the same rib recipe took a 10th place walk at the 2018 American Royal in the Invitational as well. So hence the rib recipe hasn't changed much since I left that team. It still works. So if it still works, why change it? And I'm not in a hurry to change this. It all comes down to how you cook them as well.
That's right.
Getting the right ribs. So when I'm in the US, we use Smithfield ribs, extra tenders. But I'm hearing a lot of good things about Prairie Fresh. So I'm looking forward to trying and find some Prairie Fresh next time over. If I can get some.
Get some. Get Prairie Fresh. I mean, I'm a big Compart Duroc fan, so if you can get you some Compart, try and get you some Compart also. They're great. They're great ribs. Great ribs, great pork. Speaking of Compart, Jim Compart, he will be on the show next week. So anyway.
I cooked in California May last year. I could use Compart shoulders and Compart ribs. No, they were good. Definitely enjoyed those.
Awesome. And then brisket. A lot of us here in the States cook the A9 briskets. And we call them the Australian, whatever. But what are your briskets? Like, I know you said briskets is your nemesis, I guess, but
over here in Australia, I use a brisket called from Robbins Island. which is Tasmanian brisket. They're 9+ Wagyu. Very nice briskets. They're up there in the wanted category. People like to cook them. First of all, they weren't distributed much here in Australia. They were exported. Exported to Japan quite a bit, and they've become more readily available over here in the last couple of years. But we've also got a lot of small companies out there. There's a company, Sheer Wagyu. They've got some nice Wagyu briskets as well. I've cooked a Jack's Creek in a Ranges Valley. Usually try to cook something around about the 9+. I like a highly marbled brisket for my competition cooks. That's what I usually aim for. Catering-wise over here, I use a Angus Reserve brisket. They're a great catering brisket. Usually nicely marbled for a catering brisket, grain-fed. We do have some good grass-fed briskets here too. There's Cape Grim, Bass Strait Beef. They're a couple of the main grass-fed guys that you can utilise. US-wise, I have taken the Robbins Island to the US, got the export paperwork and been able to take that over and cook that over there. That didn't fare that well, whether it was the fact that I may not have cooked it to how the judges liked it. Maybe the judges didn't like the flavour, but I've also cooked Snake River Farm Gold as well as Black, and happy with the results that I got with those two when I've cooked over there with those ones. The Snake River Gold was just amazingly marbled. To pick out this piece of meat and then hold it was just when I first started cooking barbecue. I looked at it and just, no way, this is just insane. So that's brisket wise. That's what I've cooked on mainly and used.
So, what are some rubs that we are missing out here in the United States that y'all have in Australia?
So other way around, what Australian rubs do you need over there?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. What Australian rubs do y'all have?
Look, there's a couple of barbecue guys out there that make their own rubs. One of the main ones that springs to mind is a team from Melbourne, Big Smoke Barbecue. He makes a rub called Four Monkeys Barbecue Rubs, and he's mates with Sterling from Luton Booty, and I'm pretty sure he's got a couple of people over there utilising this rub from Australia. If they've got them over there, there's another team, Butcher's Axe. They've just released a couple of rubs, and I'm pretty sure they've got a couple of guys in Texas that have got a hold of it as well. You're finding now they're two of the teams that have created their own mixes, their own rub recipes, and they're selling it. They've started in the last couple of years. There's a team called Barbecue Mafia. They're one of the original barbecue teams here in Australia. They've got a range of rubs as well. It depends. You've got your backyard caterers, your backyard barbecuers, you've got your caterers, and then you've got your comp guys. There are people here in Australia that have got their own rub mixes, but they're not aiming for the competition group. They're just the general backyard guys having a bit of fun, mixing their flavours. So with Australian rubs, there are a few out there. I don't think though at this stage that they've got a different taste to it, different flavours. They're not as popular over in the US, though. That's all. Only because we're little guys. We haven't got big names out there yet, but we're all working on it. That's what you got to do. Same as when the guys in the US, they started off small. They created their rubs. Yeah, it was just took time to get people out there, people to recognise them. And once they were recognised, they gained popularity, and it just snowballs from there. So these guys are in the money. They're in the market. They've got their hands up. They're trying. Good on them,
Yeah.
Something that we've been thinking about as caterers. the King skew. We could possibly. We've been putting some tests down in the backyard, working on a few different mixes. You know, COVID certainly helped with that. It's a watch this space situation. You know, if we're happy with it, we'll bottle it and try to sell it, and if not, we'll just mix it up and keep using it on our pork and brisket and utilize it for catering. But once you start doing that and people start if they like it, they'll ask you where they can get it. So, you know, you never know your luck. We could end up something towards the end of the year. Yeah, maybe that just in time for Christmas.
There you go.
Release. Nice. Like I say, we've been having a bit of a play with it. Something we've been thinking about.
It's always fun.
Sure.
It's always exciting to try something new and get something out there. And yeah, they said Brendan said Butcher's Axe are killing it. So
Yep.
sounds like a rub to be interesting to try. And you know, there's always something going on, always something new. Everybody's trying to get that edge. And hey, you know, you got to find something to work to.
Yeah, you got to get that niche market. Yeah, the one there's a Luton Booty one, garlic jalapeno with his black rub.
Yeah,
he's black.
Jolly
Roger.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that over here yet, but still, you know, wouldn't mind having a try.
Yeah, we haven't got it in yet. We're going to bring it in on our next order, but you know, it's going to be
the fun thing about going to the US. Like, yes, we've got importers over here that bring in different rubs, and we've got all your common rubs that are over here. But I went for a couple of different ones. Like I didn't bring in Mojo's Barbecue, but I brought in Jonesy's Q rubs. I didn't check the name of that other one anyway. There's a couple other there that I picked up that we didn't have here in Australia, and it was like, I want something different other than what I've always used, especially when I was playing with brisket. And I utilised one rub on a steak to try it out. And I thought, oh, this is sensational on steak. Put on a brisket, it was pretty good too. And it just had that completely different flavour. And I utilised that on my brisket for a while. And then my wife's like, are you trying to overcomplicate things? Too many flavors, go back to doing the basics. And I was like, yeah, all right, well, let's go back to doing the basics. So you just cut down one rub instead of two and try that. And that's the thing, it's just trial and error, making sure that, you know, it's what you like and hopefully what the judges like. Same as with sauce. Sauces are nasty. Some like it sweet, some like it savoury, some like it hot, some like it, you know, you just got to hopefully pick what they like.
Yeah, or try not to offend anybody, as everybody says here.
Yeah.
You know, make sure that it's, you know, it's not offensive, but very good, and it hits all the notes. And then once you find that, then you got something to work with. Right? So,
you know, but what we find over here is with the KCBS sanctioned competitions, we get a lot of new judges each competition. Now, when they do their judging course, I'm not sure what sauces and flavors they give them. They can't, you know, a judge likes what he likes, you know. And we find a lot of new judges prefer that either really sweet or that really spicy, you know, happy medium. And if you're running with a sweet based sauce, or you cut it with something else, or if you just run with Sweet Baby Race, a lot of judges go, oh, this sauce is great, and they don't know technically what it is, but you could get away with Sweet Baby Race and take out GC. But there's nothing wrong with that either. Okay? Not saying you have to use an expensive sauce or a high-class cut sauce, or you can use a basic backyard barbecue sauce, mix up your own. That's what the judges like.
Yeah.
It comes down to it.
Yeah. We don't have any experienced judges in Australia. You know, there's a lot of people here in the U.S. that judges seem to be, as cooks, right? Judges seem to be the poor guys. They're the ones that seem to get the punching bag or whatever. Everybody's after the judges, you know. We've got to have judges. Judges, you know, you got to make something that the people are going to like. It doesn't matter, you know, what it is. But yeah, I understand. I understand your feeling there, Brendan. But man, that's awesome. So What are you? How many competitors do you say there are in Australia? Did you say there's 500 or 600 teams?
I would say there's 500 or 600 teams for sure. Whether that's a team that's cooked one competition, or whether that's a team that's cooked, 20, 30, 40 competitions. You're gonna find a lot of names registered. I do believe on the Australian Barbecue Alliance, on their team listing or their competition, which they've run their comp circuit at the moment, there could be around about 350 teams that have done one competition, or they've done 10 competitions. KCBS teams, you're probably looking around about registered KCBS teams. It could be around about 50 to 80. I think there's less than 100 KCBS. I could be wrong though. I'm not sure. I do know on the leaderboard, I think there was around about 30 or 40 teams that were registered on the leaderboard. That's the one that I'm sitting on top of. It just depends. You could have maybe 500 teams throughout Australia.
Wow, it's awesome.
For sure. You just
is
don't know.
barbecue a relatively new sport in Australia, or is it something that's been around for a while?
I'd say
Competition
5
barbecue.
years. Competition barbecue, 5 years. I think I'd be fair in saying 2014. Yeah, maybe 6 years. I discovered it in 20, fairly new sport, the competition side of things. But this guy's been obviously cooking barbecue before that, over charcoal, and just never thought, hey, let's start a competition team, or let's get there and create a competition. It wasn't until a few blokes went over to the US and travelled around and saw how they run things over there, and then came back to Australia and have gone, we don't do this here in Australia. Let's do it. Let's set it up and get it going. It is relatively new.
That's awesome. Well, good. Paul, I appreciate you so much spending time with us tonight and talking about international barbecue and how what I think is so cool is how similar it is, how similar the things are to Australia is what we have here in the U.S. Across the globe, and we're doing the same thing. We're all trying to appease those judges. We're trying to figure out what they want, and nothing's different here than it is there. I think it's really cool.
That's 100% truth there.
Yeah, I mean, and you're flying back and forth. You're cooking in the U.S. You're cooking in Australia. Do you go anywhere else, or do you pretty much just stay in the U.S. and Australia?
Well, like I said, this year we're supposed to be 2 trips to the US, but that stopped. Next year, if everything opens up, look, I still haven't. My wife and I still want to do Kansas, cook the American Royal. That's even though I've done it previous. My wife hasn't seen it; she's only heard about it. So the American Royal. We were in communication with a team in Europe. There's a competition in Transylvania, in Romania, and they do KCBS competitions there. And we were speaking to a fella. He wanted us to come May this year, but we'd already booked to go to Norco. So there is an opportunity that I could end up cooking in Europe, and I do believe that it's the same style, same 4 meats, charcoal, cooking a drum, because I can get a hold of some drums there. It'd come down to how you cook it and what flavors you use, whether the judges like it. I'd probably take the same or similar to what I use over here, and maybe the fact that it's maybe a different flavor might entice the judges that they like it.
Right.
Meat's going to be similar. It's going to be the same similar cuts of meat. You just got to make sure that you might buy 2 briskets and do 2 cooks. One might cook one slightly different. Might have one as a test drive. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the beauty about cooking hot and fast is you can bump in on the Friday night or the Saturday morning. You can cook one for dinner as soon as you get there and give it a go, and you can change it if you need to. Or if it's a Sunday competition, you cook on the Saturday and work things out for the Sunday comp. So Europe's on the cards. But there's also another couple of trips to the US as well. a few more places to see over there.
Good. We'd love to come on down to the Southeast. We have some good competitions down here too. So Diane King said they'll be in, I'm guessing they're going to be in Transylvania. And Brendan said you probably want a full blood brisket in Transylvania. So there you go.
Awesome.
But anyway, Paul, I do appreciate you coming on tonight. I know it's early, or I guess it's getting to be almost lunchtime there. And
we got 20 past 11 at the moment in the morning. So.
Well, good, man. Well, like I say, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for spending time with us and our guys here watching TV, watching the show. Feel free to reach out if you need anything.
Thank you.
Love to help you out in any way possible. And if there's any parting things you want to say to everybody, go for it. And
just look forward to maybe bumping into you on the barbecue circuit, whether it be here in Australia or overseas, US. Thank you for listening. And if you'd like, jump on my page, the King and his Q, give us a like and a follow. We mainly obviously based here in Australia, but we are looking at putting a few more things up, trying to grow our little business and our little barbecue scene here, and spreading barbecue love. And if anyone's got any questions, shoot me a PM if I can answer it for you. More than happy to. And you could say there's no secrets in barbecue, and sometimes there is. But if you can help one of the new guys, give them a few tips and tricks. Always happy to share the love. And once again, thank you for tuning in, everyone. It's been great having you on and listening to me talk about barbecue. Thank you.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you so much. Good luck the rest of the season. Hopefully we'll get able to cook again soon. And
fingers crossed.
That's right, man. Have a great one. Thanks a lot for everything. And
thanks, Brian. Thank you, bud.
Thanks, man. Have a great night.
Well,
guys, have a good night, and we will see you next week with Jim Compark on Chewin the BBQ Fat. Y'all have a great night. Thanks a lot, people.